A man who knows what it's like to be the subject of an investigation while working inside the White House. Karl Rove, former Deputy Chief of Staff and Senior Advisor to President George W. Bush. Karl, what do you think is like for the White House now? I mean, you and I obviously worked together, that's no secret, when we were at the White House, and I served as your spokesperson for a time. And we certainly know that it can be stressful. You hid it well, but there was stress.
Yeah, sure. Better to deal with that stress in private. Don't let them see you sweat. Don't let your colleagues see you worried. To have that worry and that fear pushed off in a box and deal with it after hours and stay focused on your job. I had an advantage. One is I knew what I had done and what I had not done, and I knew I had done nothing wrong. And second of all, I had a fantastic attorney whom I had every confidence in. And at the end of the day, it worked out just like I expected it would. What was surprising was that I didn't know who had leaked the name of Valerie Plame to columnist and reporter Robert Novak until it was all over, and it turned out it was nobody in the White House. It was Undersecretary of State Richard Armitage, and not only that, but we knew the Justice Department knew that by the fall of, right at the beginning, and that the day the special prosecutor walked into office, he knew who had leaked the name, and he also knew that there had been no violation of law in Richard Armitage's leaking of the name.
Do you think there is a concern for the Trump White House that Mueller might be going beyond his scope and looking into things that have nothing to do with the original allegation?
Yeah. Look, I'm sure there will be some things that we don't know that were not publicly discussed at the beginning. But look, I have enormous respect for Professor Turley. He's a great constitutional scholar, and you're right, his students are lucky to have him. I have to say, though, that I want to raise a cautionary note. In his piece in The Hill, he said a grand jury in Washington is now pursuing obstruction allegations against President Trump. And the link in the particular sentence, they have a link to his source, is a Wall Street Journal article that makes no mention of obstruction. And he then goes on and in the next paragraph quotes another report that senior FBI officials have been told that they are going to be called before the grand jury. This is from a fellow named Murray Wass, writing for the left-wing website Vox. Now, I knew Murray Wass from my own experience. He was continually during the Valerie Plame incident.
This name is ringing a bell.
more than ringing a bell. He was continually writing the most ridiculous things year after year after year. Even after Patrick Fitzgerald had told my attorney, no problems for Rove, he's out, he continued to write as if I was going to be momentarily indicted. So my confidence in Murray Wass as a source, and he quotes, quote, two senior law enforcement officials supposedly told him this. Well, I went back and looked at some of his reporting during the Valerie Plame. He was constantly quoting senior law enforcement officials.
I remember that guy giving me heart attacks.
Yeah, exactly.
Can I ask you about just one other thing that happened today? This is a separate, which was Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell was back in Kentucky speaking to the Rotary Club, and he was talking about some frustrations about getting some things done and expressing this. Let's take a look.
Now, our new president had, of course, not been in this line of work before, and I think had excessive expectations about how quickly things happen in the democratic process.
And then he went on to say, Karl, I'm not going to play it just for time, that there's a reality of the complexity of legislating, and that basically it's better to under-promise and over-deliver. Do you think that has been a problem, and can they try to turn that around when they come back in the fall?
Yeah, I do think this is an interesting. I would not have expected the majority leader to make this kind of a comment. He's absolutely true. He's right on target. I wrote about this in my Wall Street Journal column last week. I said the administration needed to underpromise and overdeliver. They're saying things are going to happen quickly and that things are going to be completely solved easily. And frankly, the challenges the country face require difficult answers, and the problems are not going to be solved easily and quickly, and lower expectations, and people will be happily surprised when you exceed them.
All right, Karl Rove, thank you so much.